Have you ever heard of a god so terrifying that its name became a synonym for anything demanding a terrible sacrifice? A being of bronze and fire, whose worship involved the most horrifying rituals imaginable. Today, we're diving deep into the dark and mysterious history of Moloch, a name that has echoed through millennia, from ancient texts to modern conspiracy theories. Was Moloch a real deity, a monstrous misunderstanding, or something else entirely? Let's uncover the truth behind the god of fire and sacrifice. The story of Moloch primarily begins in the Hebrew Bible, specifically in the book of Leviticus. Here, the Israelites are sternly warned against giving their children to pass through the fire to Moloch. The penalty for this act was death. This prohibition is repeated in several other books, painting a grim picture of a forbidden cult operating on the fringes of ancient Israelite society. The name itself, Moloch, is thought to be derived from the Hebrew word Melech, meaning king. Some scholars believe the vowels were intentionally changed to mimic the word Bashith, meaning shame, creating a title that essentially meant the shameful king. So, who exactly was being worshipped? The texts are somewhat vague. Moloch is associated with the Ammonites, a neighboring kingdom to the east of the Jordan River, but the descriptions often link the worship to a specific place, the Valley of Hinnom, a ravine just outside Jerusalem. This place, also called Gehenna, became so infamous for these supposed rites that its name later became a term for hell itself. The practice described is horrifying, a child being placed in the hands of a heated bronze statue and consumed by flames. It's an image so powerful and disturbing that it has captivated and repulsed people for centuries. But here's where the story gets complicated. How much of this is historical fact, and how much is polemic? Archaeologists and historians have long debated the reality of child sacrifice in the ancient Near East. The primary evidence, aside from the biblical accounts, comes from Carthage, a powerful city-state in modern-day Tunisia founded by Phoenicians from the Levant. The Romans, who were Carthage's mortal enemies, wrote extensively about Carthaginian child sacrifice. They described a ritual where infants were sacrificed to the god Valley of Hinnom, a deity often equated with the Greek god Cronus and, by some, with Moloch. Archaeological digs in Carthage have uncovered vast cemeteries known as tophets. These sites contain thousands of urns filled with the cremated remains of infants and young animals. For a long time, this was seen as definitive proof. Here were the victims of Moloch, or Valley of Hinnom. The inscriptions on the monuments at these sites often read as dedications from parents, seemingly thanking the god for prayers answered. It seemed like an open and shut case. The Carthaginians were systematically sacrificing their own children. However, a more recent wave of scholarship has challenged this interpretation. Some historians argue that the Roman accounts were pure propaganda, designed to demonize their enemies and justify their brutal conquest of Carthage. They suggest the tophets were not sites of sacrifice, but rather special cemeteries for infants and stillborn children who died of natural causes. In a world with incredibly high infant mortality, a dedicated burial ground for the very young might not be so strange. The inscriptions, they argue, could be memorials from grieving parents, not records of sacrifice. The debate is fierce and ongoing. Is the tophet a graveyard of murdered children, or a sacred resting place for cherished ones who died too soon? The evidence can be read both ways, leaving the true nature of these sites shrouded in mystery. Regardless of the historical reality, the image of Moloch as a child-devouring monster was firmly cemented in the Western imagination. During the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, demonologists listed Moloch as one of the great princes of hell. He was often depicted as a bull-headed or horned creature, a monstrous figure embodying the ultimate evil. John Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost gives him a prominent role as one of the chief fallen angels, a horrid king besmeared with blood of human sacrifice and parents' tears. This literary portrayal solidified Moloch's status as a top-tier demon, a symbol of corruption and unspeakable cruelty. From there, the name Moloch took on a more metaphorical meaning. It became a powerful symbol for any force or system that demands terrible, soul-crushing sacrifice for its own continuation. Karl Marx used the term to describe the brutal nature of capitalism, where human lives are fed into the machine of industry. The Beat Generation poet Allen Ginsberg, in his famous poem Howl, saw Moloch everywhere in mid-20th century America. Moloch as the soulless, conformist industrial society that crushed individuality and spirit. His lines cry out, Moloch, Moloch, nightmare of Moloch, Moloch the loveless, mental Moloch, Moloch the heavy judger of men. For Ginsberg, Moloch was the faceless, oppressive system that demanded the sacrifice of creativity, freedom, and human connection. This brings us to the modern day, where Moloch has found a new and strange life in the world of internet conspiracy theories. One of the most persistent is centered around a place called the Bohemian Grove. This is a private, 2,700-acre campground in California, owned by the exclusive, all-male Bohemian Club. Every summer since 1878, some of the most powerful men in the world, presidents, business leaders, artists gather there for a 2-week encampment. The club's motto is "Weaving spiders come not here," meaning business and outside concerns are to be left at the gate. The conspiracy theories focus on a specific ceremony that kicks off the encampment, called the cremation of care. During this elaborate theatrical production, members in robes cremate a large effigy called Dull Care at the foot of a massive 40-foot concrete owl statue. To outsiders, this looks bizarrely pagan and occult, because the owl has ancient associations with wisdom, but also with figures like Lilith and other night spirits. Conspiracy theorists immediately connected it to Moloch. Secret footage of the ceremony, leaked in the early 2000s, went viral and fueled theories that the world's elite were literally worshipping a demon and performing mock human sacrifices. Of course, members of the Bohemian Club dismissed this. They described the ceremony as a silly, traditional piece of theatrical nonsense, a way to blow off steam and symbolically set aside the worries of the outside world. They say the owl is just their mascot, and the ceremony is no more sinister than a college fraternity ritual. But for many, the image of powerful men in robes chanting before a giant owl and a burning effigy is too tantalizing. It fits perfectly into a narrative of a secret cabal ruling the world, engaging in dark rituals behind closed doors. Moloch, the ancient god of sacrifice, has been reborn as the secret deity of the global elite. So, what is Moloch? Is he a historical god, a biblical bogeyman, a literary demon, a metaphor for oppressive systems, or the focus of a modern conspiracy? The answer is, in a way, all of them. Moloch is a concept that has evolved dramatically over time, adapting to the fears and anxieties of each era. He began as a specific warning against a forbidden foreign cult. He then became the archetypal demon, a personification of pure evil. He transformed into a powerful metaphor for the soul-crushing demands of society and industry. And today, he lives on in the shadowy corners of the internet, a symbol of secret power and hidden corruption. The story of Moloch is a powerful reminder of how ideas and symbols can endure. A vague reference in an ancient text can spiral into a complex mythology that spans 3,000 years. It shows our enduring fascination with the forbidden, our need to personify evil, and our suspicion of the systems and powers that govern our lives. Whether you see him as a real deity or just a powerful idea, the shadow of Moloch continues to stretch long into the 21st century, a testament to our deepest fears about what we are willing to sacrifice and what those sacrifices might cost us. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the dark history of Moloch. What do you think? Was Moloch a real god, or is the whole story just a mix of propaganda and metaphor? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the mysteries of the past. Thanks for watching.